All right, everybody, we are live. Search for Huru Dynasty Mir, and I have the brother Abdifatah with us today.
Just call me Abdi is fine, or Abdul, either way, brother.
Okay, all right, we'll call you Abdi. And today, this has been a very controversial subject. And I know usually this subject is usually revolves around, I would say, Northern Africans, and then, of course, Somalis, Eritreans, and Ethiopians. And that question is, do Somalis consider themselves African? And we're not just going to focus on that for this entire conversation, but we're also going to focus on just the history of Somali versus Greater Somali. And also, I kind of want to start off with this, if it's okay with you. I'll ask the question. Let's get some more people in the chat room first. Let me go over here. All right, perfect. Because I know me and you talked about this offline, and then the question was also brought up in another group chat of mine. Your thoughts on Haile Selassie? Now, another brother was saying that Haile Selassie sold out his people, or something like that, or sold his people to slavery. I don't know, something weird. And from my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, part of what you guys consider Somalia is in current day Ethiopia. Is that correct?
First we have to separate and understand the term Somalia, which is the current country called Somalia, or the Horn of Africa, the seventh sign. That's Somalia. And there is Somalis, which is ethnic people that existed and still exist, and they live in the Horn of Africa before the colonizers came and divided the Horn of Africa the way it is right now. So Somalis live in Ethiopia, what it used to be the Ogaden region. I mean, it still is, but the Ogaden region, which is right now member of the federal Ethiopia at this point. And there are Somalis that live in Djibouti, which used to be called French Somaliland. And there are Somalis right now live in northern Kenya, which is NFD, giving to Kenya when they get their independence in the 1960s. So let's step back and think about it. We didn't have any border lines before the colonizers, conquered Africa. They chopped up, by themselves and between them. Somalia right now, the flag of Somalia is blue, and it has a white star in the middle of it. That star stands for the 5 parts of Somalia that we were divided by the colonizers. So who are those 5 parts? The first one is Djibouti, which was the French Somaliland. Right now, it stands by itself. And there's right now what you guys know as the Somaliland, or the British Somaliland, was colonized by the British. And then come down to southern side where Mogadishu and all the way to the border of Kenya is, and that was called the Italian Somaliland. And then you go all the way to Kenya side. The British also ruled the NFD at the time during the colonization, which is right now part of Kenya. And each of those regions have a history. So during the independence in the 1960s, 2 parts of those 5 parts of Somalia came together in the 1960s and created what's called Somalia at that time. So the British Somaliland get their independence from the British. The Italian Somaliland get their independence from the Italians. And they decided to join in the 1960s to create what we know today as Somalia. And the deal was, okay, let's start searching and getting the remaining 3 parts of Somalia in order to create a greater Somalia. French didn't give Djibouti their independence till 1977, recently. The Ogaden side, which is a huge chunk of land in Ethiopia, the British decided to give it to the Ethiopian at the time, without any referendum whatsoever. They were promised to be given, the freedom to decide if they want to join Greater Somalia or not. They are ethnic Somalis in regards to culture, ethnicity, religion-wise, and everywhere. In regards to the Kenya side, that is extremely interesting because the British give them the opportunity to vote a referendum and give them the right if they want to join Kenya or if they want to join Greater Somalia, which is they're ethnically Somali. Overwhelmingly, over 90% voted to join Greater Somalia. And regardless their vote, the British decided to give it to Kenya, that part of Somalia. So that's in a nutshell. We have to separate the country we call today Somalia and what the ethnic Somalis are. So in our constitution that was created in the 1960s in Somalia, which were the northern side, which is the British Somaliland and the Italian, so they created their constitution, and those three parts are missing. So that they decided if you are ethnically Somali, it don't matter, or regardless where you live, in Djibouti or Ogaden, or if you live in Kenya and you're ethnic Somali, you have the right to become whatever you want inside of Somalia. You have the right to obtain a Somali passport. You have the right to live without any question anywhere in Somalia. Does that make sense? And that stands today. I mean, any Somali, if you look historically, the majority of Somali leaders came from the Ethiopian side of Somalia. From the beginning till recently. I mean, I'm talking about till the 1991. I mean, Siad Barre and also the our first president, Aden Abde. That's what we call him, Aden Abdul Osman. They are from there, and also one of our first freedom fighters, not the first, but during the colonizers, Sayyid Muhammad Abdullah Hassan, or what the British calls the Mad Mullah, also come from that part of the world. So that's in a nutshell what the Somalis are, ethnic Somalis, and what Somalia is. So I want our brothers here to understand and to differentiate when they're talking about Somalia and Somalis, ethnic Somalis. So there are two different things.
Okay. Somebody in the chat room wants to know or ask, Greater Somalia will most likely never happen in our lifetime. Somaliland is basically its own country and succeeded from Somalia. Al-Shabaab controls almost all of the South. Can you explain that or go in on?
Yeah, I mean, we have our own issues. We have our own problems, just like many other African nations have. We are Muslim first. I mean, Somalia, if you look at it, really, we are, I don't want to say the only nation, but we are, in a nutshell, the only nation in that part of the world that can say we are the same people ethnic wise. We have the same religion. We don't have Shia and Sunni. We are all Sunni in regards to Muslim, the Islamic religion and the sects and all that. So we are very much related in every way. But we have problems with this Clannism and tribalism. I don't want to say tribal, which is different than the clans, but we really, I have to be careful what I say here as well, but we really do have a major issues when it comes to treating each other on clan-based system, and that has been in our history, and it still is in many parts of the world, mainly in the Muslim and Arab world exist, in Africa exist. So we have our share of problems, but we've been having major issues with this, other nations getting their hands into our affairs as well to solve that problem. We've been having I'm getting an echo actually coming back. I don't know, is it that your side or me? I don't know.
I think that's you, but you're fine. Keep going.
Correct. So I'm not saying that we don't have any problems. Al-Shabaab is one issue in Somalia that's going on, and we're trying to find a solution for that. In regards to what the brother mentioned, which is the Somaliland, which is the former British colony, that is a discussion that could take about another hour if you want to talk.
Okay.
Okay.
We can. We can. I mean,
Okay. Um, when it comes to clan-based systems, I mean, Somalis live amongst each other in every part of the country, and also which extends to Kenya, Ethiopia side, and all the way to Djibouti. So the same clan that lives in Somalia also live in Ethiopia, Somali region, and also in Djibouti, and also in Kenya. So when you talk about the former British king, and right now to when I succeed from Somalia, secession-wise, every single Somali that believes in the unity of Somalia wants to see someday greater Somalia, which I'm one of them. Don't want to see that happen. We don't want to see the Somaliland separate from the rest of Somalia. They have reasonable and understood in every Somali the issues that they saying that this happened to us. The Siad Barre regime, who is the last dictator of Somalia, did a lot of bad things to them clan wise. But this is the problem. Um, who are the majority in Somaliland and who are the minority? How many clans live there? Are they all agreed to separate from Somalia? That is a huge and major discussion that has to take place. And many Africans don't understand that when they say Somaliland wants to separate and become their own nation. But you have to look deeper and see what's in there. I mean, who lives in Somaliland? Who are they? Do they all voted to become their own nation? Like I said, they have a legitimate um, reason to complain and go to the extent of where they went to, which is, we don't want to join you anymore. A lot of bad things happen to us, but a lot of bad things happen to every Somali in Somalia as well. So I really have to be careful what I'm saying because this is a very sensitive issue among Somalis. But all I want to say is, as a native Somali, as a nationalist of the unity of Somalia, and I'm a big believer of Greater Somalia, which is not at this point something that we can't even talk about it. I really don't want to see Somaliland separate from us. We have issues. They have issues. We can come together and resolve whatever problems that we have among us. In regards to the Shabab, um, I'm sure a lot of brothers in the U.S. Don't even know um, um, why they came to be. What happened? Where did they come from? Who created them? How do they get started? What are their goals and what do they want? So it's complex, layers to layers. You have to feel like onion. Yeah. So go ahead and ask me the next question.
okay. So the Ethiopian part now. Okay, so you have the ethnic Somalis in Ethiopia.
Correct.
Uh, Now Ethiopians' claim to fame is that they've never been colonialized. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, that's the myth that they feed the world. To be honest with you, I mean, no disrespect to my Ethiopian brothers, but that's the truth. I mean, think about it. How the hell are you gonna claim, and Ogaden, which is really huge chunk of. Do you have the link that I sent you, by the way?
About the Somaliland, the map, right?
Yeah, the map that I sent you. Can you show to the to your audience?
Yeah, I can do it right now. Hold on one second. Let me do. Give me 1 second.
Let me explain that.
Yeah, go ahead. Let's see here. Screen share. Let's see.
Okay.
We're gonna do application window. No, let's do. Hold on. Let's do entire screen share. Okay. Present to everyone. Okay. All right, here we go. No, that's the wrong one. That's the wrong one.
Yeah,
Where's it at?
yeah,
Where's it at?
yeah, just the link that I sent you.
I got it right here. Okay, hopefully everybody can see
There
it.
you go. Can you expand that and maybe make it,
Can,
zoom in?
can, can you see it?
Yeah, I can see it. I can see it.
Okay.
So if you look at this map, the current Somalia, stops where the border is. You see that border, right?
Right.
But I mean, the same color. You see how big the Ogaden region is? That is the Somalis, the ethnic Somali region of Ethiopia. All of that.
Okay.
And even today, I mean, Ethiopia, they become a federal. It's called, the Somalian section of Ethiopia, or the Ogaden region, but they call it, I think we call it the Kilal Kashanat, or which is the that part of the Ethiopia. So let me ask my brothers, if all that was colonized by the British and is part of Ethiopia as they're claiming it to be, number one, how could you say and claim that you've never been colonized? Number one. And number two, Eritrea, which is, next to Djibouti all the way, if you look at the map, which separated from Ethiopia in the 90s, they were also colonized by the Italians all the way, till the 60s. So how the hell can you claim you never been colonized and still claim and fight over those regions where thousands and thousands of people died to get their independence? That's one side. So just to go back to my opening remarks, or what the separation between Somalia and ethnic Somalis. You look at the Kenya side, by the way.
Right.
That is NFD all the way there.
Mhm.
There's a lot of Somalis, ethnic Somalis, and by the way, they give their referendum and their vote in historical documents in the British Library and everywhere they can find to join Greater Somalia, and the British still decided to give it to Kenya, and it's still a standing issue. Some Somalis might claim that that is not the case. And Djibouti is the other side as well. It's not just ethnic Somalis. I have to admit that in Djibouti, the French decided. It first used to be called, actually, historically, when they invaded, they called it British Somaliland. And then later on, when the vote started to come in, in the 70s, and a lot of Somalis which wanted to join the Greater Somalia, they changed the name to be, the Afar and the Isa, or the Isa and the Afar land, which is Somalis live there, and also the Afar lives there. But the majority right now, and the rulers there are the Afar people. I'm sorry, the Somali people. But the Afro also they have a huge land in there as well. Some people might claim and say that they do. They have the majority of the land, and the Somalis have the majority as far as the people go. The majority as far as the percentage wise go. So Afro and the Somalis, ethnic Somalis, live in Djibouti. In regards to the Ogaden region, or the Kilal Kishanad, that's what we call it, are ethnic Somalis. Their Ethiopians actually live there as well, because what their constitution says, if you're an Ethiopian citizen, you can go anywhere and do whatever you want, which is a great thing. So the reason I'm going through all this, I'm not saying that anything else, except that I want to educate my brothers here to understand, when you hear the word Somalia and ethnic Somali. I want them to appreciate that and to understand. You will see a lot of Somalis, if you ask them where you're from, they're going to say, oh, Ethiopia. And there's ethnic Somalis, but they are really from there. And you're going to see a lot of Somali Kenyans, born and raised, and that's their land, that's where they live in. And the funny thing is that after the war, a lot of Somalis became refugees in Kenya. And guess where they live? The biggest refugee camp on the planet, and it's the NFD, it's the Somali side of Kenya. But still, they're not ethnic Kenyans, even though there are some ethnic Somalis in that land. That's another issue that I want to bring it up. It's not a land that belongs to Somalia at this point. It's part of Kenya. We don't have a time for that. We are frying our own fish here. We have major issues to handle and take care of. So that's in a nutshell I just want to show you audience about that man.
All right, let me ask you this. So basically, so what you're saying is this entire pink area that is comprised of Somalia and ethnic Somalis was all colonialized by the British.
That is correct. Like I said, the star that we have in our flag
Uh-huh.
uh, stands for those five parts of Somalia.
Got it. Okay. One.
Yeah, I
You
mean,
got
the
it. Okay.
colonizers became and they divided the nation into five parts. The British took some, the Italians took some, the French took another half. So we didn't have any borders. I mean, we were open to each other. And right now, one of the things that I don't agree with my brothers in the British Somaliland, which is Somaliland right now, that they want to separate from the rest of Somalia, that it's not a good thing to claim and say we were, a nation because we were colonized by the British. We got to become our own country based on what the British decided. That really doesn't sound good to me.
Okay. All right. Let's go and close this out. Can I close this out?
Yeah. I mean, that's what I wanted to say.
All right. Perfect. All right. I'm back. All right. That's perfect. All right. So as far as let's talk about Al-Shabaab for a second. I know we kind of touched on that a little bit.
Ouch.
Let's talk about the origins. We spoke on this a little bit offline. Let's go into detail a little bit about the origins of Al-Shabaab. I know Al-Shabaab is probably similar to ISIS, where it's U.S. or created because of U.S. foreign policy and involvement in the Middle East, and of course, you have a group like ISIS who's like, look, why are you here? Get out. So let's talk about the origins of Al-Shabaab, starting with, and we talked about this offline somewhat, Black Hawk Down.
Right. And that is very sensitive area to talk, to be honest with you. But,
You're going, you're going in. Let me ask you: is the I know you're watching the live stream as well. Is the volume on? Can you turn that volume off on the live stream if you're viewing it?
oh, maybe that's what it is.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, if you mute the volume on the actual live stream that you're watching, just if you can mute that.
No, I wasn't watching anyway. Well, it's still
Okay.
coming. Oh, it was you then. Okay. So let's talk about Al-Shabaab and who are they and where they come from.
Uh-huh.
And like I said, my brother, this is a very sensitive issue. And I'll say in a nutshell.
Yeah, everybody in the chat room, press 1 if you can hear Abdi clearly. Press 1 because the sound is kind of just going in and out, but it might be at my end. But go ahead.
Correct. Somalia went to civil war in 1990.
Okay.
And then that war was to get rid of the dictator at the time, Siad Barre regime. And then after Siad Barre left in 91, we didn't have government right away. It was a vacuum. I still hear my voice, but it's okay. I'll continue. Um, uh, the clan victim or clan warlords rose up from the ground. So we had, Clannism, clan warfare, every part of the country, mostly in the southern part. And then where the capital is, that is where the head of the snake is anyway in every nation. That's where most of the people live. That's where most action takes. That's where the entire world sees, as whatever the reason is. So we had a warlord-based system, roadblocks everywhere in Mogadishu. People dying left to right, warlords doing whatever they want, all the way, let's say, I'm jumping ahead a little bit, but let's talk about after 91 all the way to 93. The youth is one there to help the starving people of Somalia at the time because of the war.
Hey, I was gonna say real quick the
You want to shut it off? And
well, it's like the like somebody said in the chat room, sounds like you're gargling on antennas.
he said that.
So somebody in the chat room said it sounds like you're gargling on antennas. It's not. It's going. It's a lot of echoing.
You want to shut it off? Maybe I can shut it off. You want to see me? Okay, let me click it and shut it off again.
Okay. Hey everyone, thank you for joining us this Thursday. Damn, it's Thursday already. This Thursday afternoon. Search for Uhuru, Dynasty Mir. Guys, if you super chat, I just got the new postcards in. So we have new postcards, all right? So if you super chat, you'll get a postcard.
It's my brother.
All right. Okay. Go. Keep talking.
Is that better?
Yeah, that's better. Go ahead.
All right. Where was I? Let's see, I already left. Still
You're talking about the clans. The clans were.
right, correct. So there were in the country. Every part of the country, but not really issue and the U.S. government came in to support the starving people of Somalia. You know, the Restore Hope. We'll remember that. They did a lot of good things, but they decided to get involved into the actual politics of on the ground. They tried to capture General Aidid, which was one of the leaders of the people who get rid of the regime at the time. So what happened? We all know, the Black Hawk Down happened. Um, uh, uh, some part of the city, the people rose up, and his tribal decline at the time. A lot of people got killed. Most people don't talk about it during that time by the U.S. government. Well, not the government, but the United Nations, people that were with the U.S. soldiers at the time, including a lot of Pakistanis and a lot of Malaysians and different people at the time. Anyways, that happened. The U.S. decided to leave Somalia 93. So from 93 all the way mid 2000. Somalia were left alone to take care by themselves, to solve their own issues. The U.S. never looked back. That's how we see it from the outside. But in reality, there was some boots on the ground. There were some activities going on from the western side. In a nutshell, there were some activities that they were doing that most Somalis didn't approve. For example, the warlords were really abusing the civilian in general. I'm talking about roadblocks everywhere. A lot of taxation, not a government, but from this section of the capital is controlled by this general and that warlord and this warlord and this warlord. So the people couldn't take it anymore by themselves. It was a major issue. And then 9/11 happened, and whatever the reason, the U.S. government got more actively involved in Somalia before Shabaab or anything else, by the way, in Mogadishu. And every Somali in Mogadishu knows, and most people might not know, but what happened that time was that some warlords were picking some of the leaders, especially the clerics and the imams, and taking them whatever. A lot of people get upset, they get angry, they rose up. I'm talking about just the civilians and the people just rose up by themselves. They decided to try or get rid of those warlords. They get rid of it completely. And Mogadishu for 6 since Barre fell down. 1990, 1991. First time. And everywhere in Somalia, everyone was joyful, happy, excited. A lot of Somalis went back from the U.S., from Europe, from everywhere, um, just 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 being happy about what happened. So these people who get the power at the time in Mogadishu, they used to be called, Islamic Union Court. So they had the word Islam in their name, and they were like, religious leaders, but they had the support of the people to get rid of those warlords, and set up Islamic courts in the capital and its surroundings, and try to create something that mimics a government in a nutshell. I don't know if you guys remember, but when that happened, and that, the Islamic Union Courts or whatever came up at the time, I remember watching on CNN, and I saw, someone asking Bush at the time. It was Bush Jr.
Hmm.
Um, what's going on in Somalia, and he was, what are you going to do about it? And then he said, we're going to do something about it. So before you know it, what happened is that, um, uh, the way I look at it, to be honest with you, um, um, we used the proxy from Ethiopian to invade Somalia under the Islamic State. That's the reason. Somalia. There was some, defense, but they were not that powerful. They came all the way to Mogadishu and get rid of the 6 month old, system that they were creating. And one thing that we have to remember, the Islamic Union, Islamic courts at the time, they were really, how do I put it? They were not extremists. They were not like people who believe, Al Qaeda ideas or ISIS ideas or whatever. But most Americans or the government, I assume, couldn't differentiate between extremism or just people who are trying to make their place safe and get rid of the warlords that's been, eating their flesh for years and years and years. Anyway, the Ethiopians came to Mogadishu, and historical. Um, the fact is that Ethiopia and Somalia, I don't want to say they're arch enemies, but we have issues. We have outstanding problems and beliefs in our core. It's not a bad thing, but I mean, because we believe that, Ethiopia still has part of Somalia, and there was a war in 1977. A lot of Somalis died because of that land, and that's why, this issue arose and this and that. And there was not a single Somali that wanted to see ever Ethiopian tanks roaming on the streets of Mogadishu. That's the honest truth.
Hmm.
So what was hiding underneath the Islamic courts at the time, there were, another part of the Shabbat. So they were part of it, but they were not ruling it. I mean, they didn't have the power. And then when that happened, Islamic courts gone now. So what's left? The radicals, the hardcores, and then every single Somali believes on this idea: get rid of the Ethiopians, right? So they get the support of the people, and they become powerful, so powerful that they start fighting day and night, and day and night till Ethiopians were, left from the capital, and they become the most powerful in Somalia, and especially in the southern part. So I don't want to say that we created it, I don't want to say that, but our actions were responsible for the rise of Al-Shabaab, and very much every analyst and everyone knows that at this point. So what happened is that they have the support of the people at the time because of the Ethiopian invasion. That reason alone, every single Somali support. To be honest, as far as I understand, not every single Somali, but I mean, we had some people that really didn't they didn't support it. That's for sure. But the majority of Somalis that I know personally, some of them were part of the here. I mean, to Mogadishu anyway, but the majority of the people that really supported to get rid of the Ethiopians. So in a nutshell, the Ethiopians left. Shabab goes. They become most powerful, and then they start doing a lot of crappy stuff that most Somalis don't approve. I mean, cutting off hands, taxation, abusive, killing people with knives, saying that they're part of a tribe. So let's talk about something. Oh shoot, and maybe I'm talking all the way. um, so that's what in a nutshell how Shabab power um, they were created.
The people are saying the sound is going in and out on your end. That's what they're saying in the chat room.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm getting the echo as well from my side. Um, was it better earlier? Should I shut it off and come back in again?
No, no, just like, are you speaking into a phone, or are you in a computer, or?
Yeah. I'm speaking on the computer. Yeah.
Okay, all right, yeah. I mean, if you just speak straight to the computer, it should be fine. I
Yeah.
mean, but go ahead, keep going.
So that's nutshell about the Shabab side. I mean, they were supported, and they were created. They were supported by, and they were created. Um, Inadvertently, I guess, the actions that we took, like it was a proxy attack, and it happened because of the colonization of Ethiopia. And when they come to Mogadishu, that's unfortunately, but that's how it happened.
Mm. And somebody just brought up in the chat room, and we talked about this offline as well, how Rwandans look similar to Somalis. Can you go into detail about that?
Can you repeat the?
Someone in the chat room brought up how Rwandans look similar to Somalis, and we spoke on that offline a little bit. Can you go into detail about that?
Why do Somalis? I still don't get the question. I'm sorry.
How? Okay, Rwandans, people from Rwanda, they look similar to Somalis, correct? Don't you think so? Hello?
Yeah, yeah, I can hear you. I understand.
Okay, remember how we were discussing how Rwandans came from Somalia, or the Tutsi?
Oh no, yeah. No, I understand what you're trying to say. I don't know. This is not, something that more or less. A lot of people believe that. I don't know. What they say is there's a similarities between the Somalis and the Tutsi. I don't know the Tutsis from China, but I've heard some of them that they might be original Somali or whatever, but I don't know. I'm not sure. It's not something that I can talk about it, but I heard about it. I don't know if the Tutsi of Rwanda believe they are originally from there or not, but that is not something that I can talk about it as far as I know or aware of. It's something that that I heard on the streets that
Okay. Well, now we really didn't finish the speaking on Haile Selassie. How do Somalis feel about Haile Selassie?
see. I mean, there's long history in the Horn of Africa, starting it really started with. I mean, there's wars between the Abyssinian and the ethnic Somalis that live in the Horn of Africa. I mean, historically, we're talking about over 1,000 years ago. So in regards to Selassie, the problem was that um, he claimed um, during the independence are really biased. He had the opportunity to go to Europe, especially, and claim that.
Oh, hold on, hold on. Sorry about that. Go ahead. Go ahead.
um, so I mean, he claimed that Somalia, all the way to Nadi region, which is the where the capital of Mogadishu is, should be or is part of Ethiopia. He believed that, I mean, entire nation of Somalia belongs to him. And it's not surprising because of historical reasons, his claim and who he was at the time. So your question was that, I think if I recall correctly, during my conversation with you, why would the Jamaicans worship or whatever Haile Selassie?
Right. The Rastafaris, right.
Correct. I have no idea. That's something they can answer, but I don't believe there's a single Somali that I know of that would worship or respect what he stood for. A lot of Ethiopians with respect to them. That was their leader. That was their king. That was his belief. But this is our land. This is where we or our ancestors lived and born, and we don't believe that anyone can claim a right to conquer and invade. So that was our point, to be honest with you.
Okay. Somebody said the Rastas like Selassie for giving them land. I guess he gave a lot of Rastafarians land in Ethiopia.
Um,
But didn't they come back and take that land or?
See, I mean, most African Americans that I know of, they really don't know Ethiopia very well. Um, right now, I dealing with Somalis. Right, Somalis are one ethnic one tribe that can go back their lineage into one person called am I getting trouble with this one, but called Somali, right? That's where the word Somalia comes from, which means or stands go on milk. That's what it stands for. Somal or Somalia, that word. So let's talk about then. There's a lot of clans and tribes that don't um, 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 cannot track their lineage all the way to that one person. Still Somalis, they have similarities way and Somalia in a nutshell. So now let's talk about Ethiopia. Ethiopia high ethnic nation, not just like Somalia. I mean, there's the Oromo, the Tigray, the Amhara. They speak different languages. They have different religions. Um, and then what kept them together? Long story, my brother. So I don't want to with respect to my brothers that the idea that is a sign, which is never being colonized. Just do that in case I hope that I repeat it a gazillion times. And it's true, I guess.
Hmm. See if we got any more questions in the chat room. Oh, well, here's the $1 million question. Do Somalis consider themselves Black and African?
Yeah, we talked about that question. So, um, we are Somalis and we live in the Horn of Africa. We just saw that. So, where the heck is the Horn of Africa located? It's in Africa,
Right.
right? So, are we in Africa? Are we Africans? Yes, we are. That's number one. Number two, I mean, the one issue that I really don't understand, I don't even know, the historical reason Africa came from. You hear a lot of stories, and I mean, the Roman and that, Spanish and that. But anyways, we are and we are Africans. But what they trying to asking that question, I'm assuming some Somali, and I give and the sister that you interviewed, the reason why I'm going to say, um, some Somalis claim that they I've
Right.
heard, I subscribe to that. I'm an African American, but let's look at it. Somali is um, on the Horn of Africa. Our neighbors are Arabs, right there on the Red Sea. We're on the ocean side of the world. So we have um, a lot of community trading. Uh, we had Indians trading. We are mixed, especially on the northern side of Somalia, with fellow Arabs. They intermarry, and they did with the Yemenis mostly on that part of the world. So still come to the southern side of Somalia, we have large Bantu Somalis.
How are the Bantu Somalis treated?
That's a good question. Um,
Because when Somalis, when they troll me, they call me Bantu slave. So how are the Bantus treated in southern Somalia?
okay. It depends on part of Somalia, but mainly in the southern side, they are not treated fairly. To give you that 100%. One thing I want you to understand, there are clans within Somalia that are mistreating just like any other without being a big because of their where they get not even marrying their daughters, their sons marry to another family, or this and that. Well, it's something they only, um, only for the Bantus. But there are a lot of mistakes for the Bantus. I give you that 100%. But it's not for every Somali does that. So sometimes you might see that it depends what area that you're in. They might look at you differently because of those features. But there are some areas they are the majority, especially on where the two rivers are. They are the majority. Farmers, they're hardworking people, very well respected in their regions and in their areas. But when they might go to different part of the country and they might look different, they might get mistreated in the past. I haven't been there this time, but I did hear names. Um, Absolutely. But my brother is. I mean, I'm telling you this for other half of my life. I have seen a lot of African Americans mistreating each other. The lighter you are, you get treated better. The darker in some parts, I've seen that.
Abdi, you keep going in and you keep going in and out. Like we can't hear you clearly. Maybe like slow down a little bit.
Okay.
Go ahead. Try it again.
All right. Um, Maybe this is my schedule. Um, you are correct. A lot of are mistreated in Somalia. I agree. I have seen it when I lived there. But like I said, there are some tribes that are not into that look exactly 100% as an average Somali are mistreated as well. To the point where you cannot even marry, you second them or you cannot marry them, etc. That exists. Um, but to some part of there are the majority, especially they live on the riverside of Shabelle. I'm part of Juba as well. Um, they're the majority. They live among each other. I mean, and one thing I need to say is that not every single Somali mistreats the Bantu. You have to.
Right.
I mean, it depends. And when does it happen? maybe an ignorant person that I run into. Um, it might happen and they call names and exactly because historically. But like I said, some friends also are mistreated. But those are that is being that is being discussed, getting better. As far as I heard and know, I understand. But it can be a lot better. There are Somalis born and raised, have a lineage and history and everything in Somalia. That's the way I look at it. That's what I believe, and that's the way I see it. But one of the other thing that I wanna question in regards to about Somalis that say, no, we're light skin or we have our lineage of the camp, so this and that. I don't believe that. A lot of Somalis that I know, but I have seen and know for sure. I mean, I lived in this country more than half of my life. A lot of brothers. I mean, I'm talking especially. I mean, the African American girls or whatever. The light skin, the girl uh, gets treated better than the dark. There's been a lot of discussions that I
Yeah,
watched.
yeah, yeah. That you do have colorism in the black community. I will admit. Yeah.
Exactly. So you will see issues in every nation, and you can't just pick and choose. It depends. Are the majority? Do the majority people believe that? Is this something that happens more often? I don't believe that. I mean, I never seen Somalis, especially when I was growing up in Mogadishu, just picking up into and say, "Hey, you and this and that." No, never happened. Never happened. Um, my friends are some of my friends that I've been to. They always been went to school with, grew up with, and everything. So that's not an issue whatsoever, to be honest with you. But it does happen, and it does exist, just like it exists stereotyping and every other nation on this planet.
Hmm. All right, cool. Everybody, thank you for joining us in the chat. We have the brother Abdi on today, and like I said, Abdi, I'm gonna send you one as well. So I got two different selections when it comes to the postcards now. So if you super chat, if you go subscribe on Patreon, you
Right,
will receive a postcard, and you for being a guest, Abdi, you will get a postcard, whatever which one you choose, you will
right.
get one. So have the postcards on here. What we're gonna do, we're gonna go ahead and close out. Abdi, anything you want to share with us in closing, and then in fact, tell us about yourself quick. I know. So you were born in Somalia and you moved to. Where are you located currently?
Right now I'm in Virginia.
Virginia. Okay, I'll be in DC. What part of Virginia are you in?
I'm in Chantilly, Virginia.
And where?
Chantilly, Virginia.
Okay,
Where
I'll be in DC next month. Next month, I go to DC for a weekend, so I'll be up that way. But yeah, man. I'm so how old were you when you left Somalia?
Um, actually, I left after the war, so I was present during the war. Seen a lot of horrible stuff. Anyway, yeah, a lot of things that shouldn't happen did happen. Yeah, and right now, I believe that is doing a lot better things today. And most of the country is peaceful. Most people don't even know that. Somalia is not just an issue or the capital, but the country is huge. One of the things we haven't covered, I guess you haven't discussed, is the kingdom of Somalia, in the 1300s, the 13th century.
Hey, you're going, Abby. You're going. The sound is just going in and out. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, you have an earpiece. Maybe you can plug into the mic.
Um, yeah, shoot, hold on a second. Let me come back. Hold on.
Okay.
All right. So, better?
All right, go ahead.
Is it better?
Yeah, that's a whole. I should have told you that from the beginning. It's a whole lot better. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, one of the things that we haven't covered is during Kingdom of Somalia and the Portuguese War, they get rid of in conquering and colonizing Somalia in the 17th and 18th century.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, the during Kingdom of Somalia, they were the only kingdom in Africa that defeated the Portuguese on their ships in Africa.
Mm.
Yeah, most people don't even know that, I guess, and never heard of it. But they were very powerful kingdom that ruled Somalia from 13th century all the way to 17th century.
Okay.
Exactly. So there's a lot of things to cover when it comes to Somalia. It's not just the most people would just remember say the viruses, the black hawk down, or the starvation, which all these happen for the last 27 years. But Somalia has a history way longer than that. That goes for thousands of years.
All right, cool. Hey, Abdi, if anybody wanted to, I know people were asking for your contact information. How can people get in contact with you? If they wanted to reach out to you.
And I don't want to. Well, I have my personal email, but yeah.
Okay. Okay. Do you want people to reach out to you if they want to or no or?
Yeah. I mean, you can give me my email address.
Okay. All right. So I could post your email. Is that okay?
Yeah, you can give my email address.
Okay. Okay. All right. Cool. Anything else you want to share in closing?
No, I appreciate it for the opportunity. You have a great show, by the way. Keep it up.
Man, I appreciate it. That's the objective of the show is to connect the diaspora with Africa. So
Appreciate it.
that's all I'm doing. I'm just a humble servant of the Most High. That's all I am.
You're doing a great work.
I appreciate it, man. We definitely gotta get you back on again too. So everybody, thank you for joining us this afternoon. Really appreciate it. Make sure you go to Search for Uhuru on Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, and Facebook. Also, make sure you go to Search for Uhuru on Patreon as well. And like I said, if you subscribe on Patreon, you will get a card of your choosing. I have two options now. I have me with the King of Alada, and I have me with the Ashanti guards, his royal guard. So there you go. You have two options now. So Fronia, I might stream again tonight. I'm not sure, but if I do, I'll make sure I'll get the word out. So again, everybody, thank you for coming on. Make sure you go to searchforhuru.com. Make sure you go to dynasamir.com and also go to amazon.com and search your name, Dynasamir, and please buy a book. Hey, real quick, Abdi, how do you feel about, have you been keeping up with the, remember last year when the cop killed that white Australian lady, the Somalian cop in Minnesota?
Yeah.
What's been going on with that? I haven't really heard anything on it.
It's still going on, actually. The last time I checked, yeah. It's still free, and I think the last time I heard they haven't even set a court date yet.
Yeah, that's the thing. He hasn't even went to court yet. Like he's probably just. I mean, did he get fired from the police department or like what's he doing now?
I think when that thing happened, a lot of Somalis were freaking out in Minneapolis because of the name, and yeah, I mean, whatever the reason that why he did what he did, we don't know all the details, but that didn't look good.
Okay, now is the Somali community supporting him, or is he kind of just on his own?
Oh, believe me, I mean, they have no idea. They just you're just freaking out because of you know, if a single Somali does something, you know, it has their name attached to them, and the entire community just freaks out. Yeah, so we have no idea.
Okay.
Yeah, I
All
mean,
right.
if he's found guilty, he's guilty, but you know, they have his side, or you know, they're supporting him or not supporting him, but investigation has to take place, and you know, if he did it, you know, wrongly, then that's it.
All right, cool. All right, Abdi, we appreciate it, man. We'll love to have you back on. Thank you for coming on with us this afternoon.
Thank you very much. Take care.
All right, brother. We'll talk soon.
Goodbye.
All right, peace.